And welcome once again to Flashpoints. I'm Bob Orr, joined by Juan, Zarate, our national security analyst. Juan, good to see you again.
Bob, great to see you.
So the Olympics are here. Russia says it's prepared. The venues are up and almost active now. Where are we in terms of the threat picture?
Well, I think the threat picture is the same that we've been talking about. There are still concerns that the terrorist groups in the region, led by the Caucasus Emirates, have the Olympics and the surrounding environs in their sights, intent on disrupting. But to date, we haven't seen anything specific that is credible, that suggests there's an imminent threat. That said, we've just seen this warning from the Department of Homeland Security to airliners about potential explosive devices or liquids being brought on by potential operatives in toothpaste containers or other containers. That has raised concerns about threats to airliners. But in general, we haven't seen much of a shift in terms of the threat, and the Russians have said our ring of steel is going to secure the venues, and we're in good shape. All
right, let's talk a little bit about this toothpaste tube threat. This is in some ways reminiscent of the 2006 liquid bomb threat that came out of the UK, except this is different. This is not quite at the same level. Explain to me the differences.
Well, Bob, you've done some great reporting on this. The difference here is authorities don't have specific information about operatives who are right about to get on an airliner to construct a device, either using liquids or gels from a toothpaste container or otherwise. This is, it strikes me as more notional. They seem to have information about terrorists talking about this, potentially trying to experiment, but nothing sort of concrete or active that makes it imminent. In the 2006 plot, it was imminent. These guys were mixing liquids. They were preparing. We had concerns when I was at the White House about whether or not they were going to do trial runs. And so that was very real, very close to the bone in terms of a real threat. Here it's not quite clear, but I think what DHS wanted to do was err on the side of caution, given the threat environment, given the Olympics were approaching, and frankly to give a fair warning to airliners and passengers just to be aware.
So even if this is just, as they say, aspirational, if it's the kind of noise they're hearing in the chatter channels, and it's not really that plausible, it still underlines the sensitivity to the time we're in. People are very concerned.
Right. It's both about the sensitivities around security for Sochi, a recognition that terrorists want to hit Sochi, want to disrupt it, want to embarrass Putin, want to do anything to create a pall of insecurity or terror around it. And secondly, something you reported both this morning and yesterday, terrorists still want to strike airliners. They're still trying to devise ways around security protocols and the layers of security that secure airline traffic around the world. There's a psychological impact to hitting airlines, there's a human impact, killing lots of people, and there's an economic impact. And that still is a way and a vector for terrorists to get at not just their immediate target, the Russians, but the international community.
Now, President Putin and his security apparatus, they continue to insist this is going to be safe. We've taken care of all precautions. They're not backing down. They're not cowed at all by these continual threats. So when does the threat window close?
Well, I've said this. The threat window clearly is, the heart of it's during the heart of the Olympics in February. But keep in mind you have the Paralympics in March. And so you basically have a 2-month window of sort of a target-rich environment for the terrorists to make their point. Because in their minds, they're going to strike when they have the opportunity and they're ready. And that means it can be, during the Olympics, it can be right on the heels of it, or it can be during the Paralympics. Keep in mind that the number of athletes and visitors and media attention to that set of games, and that happens in March. And so the Russians have to be perfect for 2 months.
So are we right to just still be concerned? I mean, that's a good place to be.
You've got to be concerned, and the Russians have to be cautious. That's why the U.S. continues to put out these warnings.
All right. Juan, thanks very much.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks to you for watching Flashpoints. I'm Bob Orr. We will see you next time.